All right. We are rocking and rolling. I think everything is working correctly. At least it seems to be. So, I guess for everybody, this would be good morning. Normally I'm on nights. Today is the first day I am going live in the morning. This is Yoddah Live. Today is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. I am Yoddah, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And for the fourth quarter of 2025, I have decided, starting today, to go live twice a day, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. And we'll see if that works out. KJ. Yes, this is that was an opening that I got. I mean, I made the sign and everything and the animation, but I got the music from the approved list on TikTok. It was the first one I found, and I really liked it. So welcome, Jay Stein, user 8087, Peggy, Millie, hello. KJ sent a heart me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. And I haven't settled on what my format for the morning is going to be, if in fact it's going to be different than my nighttime format. So I just kind of went with the first thing that I thought of when I woke up to do this. One says Fifi quotas. That's interesting. Quotes. Fifi quotes. That's the word. Hello. So hopefully people will begin to trickle in. Peggy Edwards 46. Hello. User 4998. Hello. And as people trickle in, we'll start getting going. So yeah, the first thing I thought of today was the insanity of the last few days of dump at the UN, just going full dictator, then dump in front of the military leadership. That was easily the weirdest speech in a 10-year history of bizarre speeches. That was the most bizarre and embarrassing speech I've seen any foreign leader give ever in my life. And I'm 61. I've seen a lot of leaders give a lot of goofy speeches. Never seen anything like that. James Lizardi, 4 years old. Interesting username. So, for anybody coming in, best thing to do straight off is look over my head to the orange heart. It's called a heart me. That's the first thing you want to click on and send. It lets the platform know that people are here. It's the best metric that the platform looks at, gauge whether anything interesting is going on. John, hello. How you doing? Welcome. User 5356 and 22. In and out. Some people stop by for a peek and then take off. So let me get started, and maybe I'll have to repeat myself for people that come in later, but I wanted to look into signs of a dictatorship. So in my DuckDuckGo browser, I typed in signs of a dictatorship as a search term just to see what would come up. And the first thing that came up is from Wikipedia. Signs of a dictatorship include the concentration of power in a single leader or a small group, suppression of political opposition, and the manipulation of elections to maintain control. Other indicators are the restriction of civil liberties, use of state resources for personal gain, and the presence of political violence or intimidation against dissenters. So, as far as I could tell, our dear leader, Donnie Dump, has checked all those boxes. Uh, so, as it expands these ideas, pardon me, my antihistamine has not kicked in fully yet. When it goes through the headings, concentration of power, a single leader or a small group holds most political power, often with few limitations. Yeah, so right now, the Republican/MAGA party controls everything. And the real Linda, hello. And even the courts are mostly on his side. The Supreme Court puts up a fuss now and again, but last year, July 1st, 2024, they decided that presidents should have the power of kings, which is in direct opposition of why America was formed to begin with. But that's what they decided, and they've been trying to claw that back ever since. And they realize now that a dictator doesn't need a Supreme Court. Suppression of opposition. Organized political opposition is repressed, and dissent is often met with violence or intimidation. So this has become very clear recently. I mean, I've never heard another president in my lifetime and never seen anything in the archives of a president referring to the opposing political party as people who are sick, as Marxists, communists, fascists, and what else are they? And socialists. Even though those things contradict each other, Dump has often assigned all those labels to his opposition. But he said they're evil, they're sick, all that other stuff. Never seen that happen in my life. That's very bizarre to me. For people that try to say that he's working to bring America together, how's that possible? You know, I mean, literally, how's it possible? Are you hearing what he's saying? Or is it that you're hearing and not understanding? Like, what's the story here? How are you missing the obvious things that he's saying to divide America even further? If that's possible. I didn't think it was, but it seems to be. Manipulated elections. Elections may occur, but they lack competitiveness, serving mainly to legitimize the regime. So the real Linda Bombs says, or Bomba, sorry. The real Linda Bomba said, Trump is making America, U.S. great again. Well, that obviously means it's not great now. And it also wasn't great when he was in the first time because he was making it great again then. And I don't know, that's a very confusing grammatical statement. And also, when was America great? I'd love to know. I'd love to know that, and that's a question that Gabs asks the real Linda Bomba. When was it great the first time? Yeah, Gabs, I think that's an excellent question. Because I've not been able to come up with that answer. I've asked a few people. Well, it can't have always been great. If you're trying to make it great again, that means it's not great now. You understand how English words work? Bill, what is it? Bill Buckholtz? You understand how grammar works? If you're wearing a hat that says "Make America Great Again," that means it's not great now, right? You're trying to return it to a previous state, and nobody can identify exactly when that state is. What years was it great? Name me like a 5-year period. Hey, traffic man, what's going on? Didn't expect to see you this morning. Angel says when we weren't getting ripped off by other countries. What a bizarre statement. And Angel and Gabs can't seem, I'm sorry, Angel and the real Linda Bombs can't, Bomba, I keep getting that wrong. The real Linda Bomba can't agree on the idea. And Angel is also disagreeing with Bill Buckholtz, who said it was always great. But Angel said when we weren't getting ripped off by other countries. When was that? It has to be repaired from the Biden administration, and yet almost everything he's doing has made Biden's numbers worse. That's kind of interesting. Because let me guess, Joseph, you didn't like record job growth. You didn't like record recovery from C-19. You didn't like manufacturing being returned to America. You didn't like that? That had to be repaired? Oh, I love MAGA hat propaganda parrots. They're so adorable. Bill Buckholtz says, since 1776, this is the best country ever. Okay, Bill, you know what? I'd love to hear more about that. I'm going to invite you up. Let's see if you have the courage of your convictions to explain exactly what that means. I'd like to know all the things that make America great, makes America great. Yeah, all the things. Give me all the things that make America great. Oh, it looks like Bill has taken the invitation. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay, Bill, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. For TikTok purposes, are you at least 18 years old?
Oh, yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right, so we're off to a good start. So, I suspect that this is a burner account, but I could be wrong. So Bill, can you give
No, it's not.
me,
It's not a
if
burner
you,
account.
I said I could be wrong, so I already acknowledged that. So, Bill, how is America great? List all the ways that America is great.
This country has more freedoms than any other country in the world.
Yeah, that's not true.
People
There's
might
plenty of other countries that
people
are
might not
free. And as a
no,
matter of
not
fact,
as free as us.
we have the highest number of people incarcerated than any other country, the highest percentage of the population incarcerated than any other country. So that means it's the least free country.
They made that choice of breaking whatever laws they deemed at the time to put them in that
So that
position.
means we have more criminals than any other country.
There's a good possibility to say that because with all
Oh,
our
so
freedoms,
why? How can a country be
there are
great
some
if it
negative
has the highest number of
aspects of.
people? How can it be great? How can America be great if it has the highest number of its population as criminals than any other country?
with freedoms, there comes people that push the limits
Mm-hmm.
of
How come other
taking
countries that are democracies don't have this high a percentage of their population incarcerated? They have freedoms
because they
too.
don't have as many freedoms as ours.
Oh, really? Name a democracy that doesn't have as many freedoms. What other democracies are there?
Well, let's go with this way.
Hmm.
If you look at the Second Amendment,
No,
the
no.
Second Amendment,
Let's go with answering my question. You made a bold statement that America has the most freedoms, and there are at least
yes,
80 other democracies in the world. So I'd like you to tell me which democracies in the world do not have the freedoms that America does.
I think any of them don't
Right. So
have as
you
many
don't know
freedoms.
you don't know anything about other countries, do you?
No, I do. I
You do. So
I do a
name one country specifically that is a democracy that does not have as many freedoms as America.
well, okay, England,
How
France.
does England not have as many freedoms as America?
They don't have a Second Amendment. They don't have a First Amendment.
They have, but they have their own constitution. You know that, right?
They have their own rights, but I wouldn't say it's a constitution where
No,
everything is
there is
guaranteed.
literally a British constitution.
Well, that's news to me.
Of course it is, because you don't know much about anything except what Donnie Dum tells you.
No.
No.
I voted for Trump because
Yeah,
I thought that he brought a lot more to the table than Harris did.
sure,
Now,
sure,
do
of
I
course.
believe
And
everything that he does?
and
Uh,
so when you said, oh, when
do
you
I
said he
agree with
brought
every?
more to the table, so you're saying
Yep.
that a 34-time convicted felon brought more than to the table than a career civil servant who has worked for America faithfully and has never been accused of a crime and never been convicted of a crime. You believe uh, that he brought more to the table than she did?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Like how?
Well, one,
Mm-hmm.
she was not that great of a vice president. Two,
That
when
has
Trump
nothing to
ran
do. Well,
on,
he was a terrible
what
president, so already you've
you
defeated
know,
your argument.
I disagree on that.
His first. I know
If
you
you look
disagree
at his
because you're a
first
propaganda
term,
parrot. You can't
if you
you
look at,
can't you
well,
can't
hold
think
on a
for
minute here.
yourself.
I
The
am
fact is that his
being
first
nice to let
term
you
was
finish
a
your talk. Why
failure.
don't you let
His
me finish mine?
I don't have to let you finish anything when you're saying things that are not true. So I've now muted you, and now you can unmute yourself. Just in case you don't know how, I'll invite you to unmute yourself. Just accept. There you go. So if you're gonna say things that are not true, then I'm not gonna let you finish.
Well, see,
So
that's one thing about Trump
his first
was
term
great.
was a failure. You know
No,
that,
it was
right?
not.
Yes, by the numbers. But let me ask you something. How do we judge administrations? What are the things that we judge all administrations by?
If you look at his first term,
What
the
are the
numbers,
things that we
the
judge
the
administrations by?
economy was doing great
No, it
with his
wasn't.
first
The
term
economy
until
was doing
COVID hit.
great for the first 2 years because Obama had rebuilt the economy for 8 years.
No,
As soon as he
COVID hit,
enacted
and
his
that's when the
tariffs,
economy went down.
farmers started going out of business, and he had to give farmers handouts that you people say you don't like because you're against socialism, quote unquote. But you all took those handouts right away. I noticed that. So how
Farmers
is
were
that? How is
getting
that?
handouts for years.
Yeah, but he had to give them more because he was ruining their business from tariffs. And
The tariffs
manufacturing
didn't go into
dropped.
effect until this year when he started talking. We were talking about the first term.
Yeah, now I'm talking about the first term too, and obviously you have a really short memory because he enacted tariffs as one of the first things he did when he got into office in 2017. So you don't even know anything about what you're talking about. You're trying to convince me that Trump was a good president, and you literally don't even know his record while he was in office.
If Trump was as bad as what you're saying, then how did he get so many votes?
Well, if
Because,
Trump was as good as you said, why didn't he get reelected in 2020?
well, that's a good argument there, but I don't think it was as much of a blowout as what the numbers say.
It was actually more of a blowout. He won by 2 million this last time, and he lost by 8 million the first time, or 7 million, almost 8 million.
See,
So again, your
agree.
logic is that of a
No,
5-year-old. You actually don't have the facts. You
five years.
just have quotes.
Wow,
You have America's the greatest country ever since 1776.
they are.
That's the
It
way
is.
a child talks.
There's not another country in the world will
Yeah,
let you
you've
talk
already said
negative
that. You've already said that. So
about any
you
of their
tried
presidents.
freedoms. You tried freedoms. That didn't work because that's absolutely incorrect.
You won't let me
Other
finish my
countries
talk.
other countries have freedoms. So try something else. What makes America great? The greatest
Once
country
again,
ever.
you won't let me finish talking. You
And
keep
here you are
interrupting.
talking, but you're whining instead of making your
Oh
point.
no,
So
brother, I don't whine.
stop complaining like a snowflake and just say what other reason is America great?
You know, I've shown you nothing but respect when I came on.
I don't care. Bye bye. All right. Once they start snowflaking out, I'm done
So
with
what
them.
dictatorship has made the government smaller?
Okay. What is it? Looks like iron fracture.
Yeah,
Is
what
that thing?
dictatorship has made the government smaller?
I'm sorry, Iron. Let me ask you a question before we continue on. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First of all, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Excellent. And for TikTok purposes, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes, I'm at least 18.
Fantastic. So, what's on your mind?
So what dictatorship has ever made the government smaller? Has ever made cuts to the government?
So you're saying that the
What
cuts.
dictatorship wants a smaller government, though?
Well, you're asking 2 separate questions now. So first you talked about making cuts, and then you talked about wanting to make
Also,
cuts.
dictators aren't duly elected.
Yes,
The
they
popular
are.
vote?
Very often they are. You don't know your history of the world, my
No.
friend. Was Schmittler duly elected?
Yeah, originally, but then he seized power.
Oh yeah,
Has Trump seized
right.
power?
But
You guys are
you
Don
just
Quixote,
said
though.
dictators
Are
are
you
not
familiar with
duly
Don Quixote?
elected. Oh, okay. Are you gonna really try to talk over me?
Are you familiar with Don Quixote?
Are you really gonna try to talk
Yes
over
or
me?
no? Have you read the book?
Okay, so you are gonna try to talk over me, so now I'm gonna mute you because you don't have any manners. So
Have you read the book?
the way this is gonna work is that we're gonna have a conversation. And if you ask me a question and then start talking when I'm answering you, I'm going to mute you. So now I'm going
It's
to
a yes or no
invite.
question. So have you read the book or not?
So you're going to keep trying to do that. So you're a propaganda parrot
Just say no. I haven't read the book.
whose parents did not raise him correctly because you have no manners. So
Just say no.
please
You didn't
fuck
read it.
off. Okay. So anybody else want to come up and try to have a normal conversation instead of this nonsense? Oh, Iron wants to come back up. Wow. That's interesting. Let's see. Here's what I'm going to do because I could tell the kind of weak loser Iron is. I'm going to get rid of him because I know he's the kind of guy that would report alive if he doesn't like what the host is saying. So for the folks that have given me heart me's, I said hi. I said thank you to KJ. I see roses. See, thank you. Teal Shark, Barry Lane, Robert Brooks, Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie. Good to see you. Thank you all for the heart me's. For everybody else, um, the way that this platform recognizes live shows is based on the heart me's. So right over my head next to my name, there should be an orange heart. If for some reason you don't see it, don't panic. It's okay. You can fix that. You can just go into the bottom row where you see the gift box, click on the gift box, and somewhere in the list of gifts, hopefully near the top, but you might have to scroll, you're going to look for Heart Me, not any heart, the one that is called Heart Me, and that's what you're going to do to send me the Heart Me. Traffic Man, thank you so much. And it looks like my chili peppers have all been eaten up, so I am going to reset my live goal. And we have 189 people in here. I know we've been on a half hour, shockingly low. I think you guys are very interested in the conversation. You're forgetting to tap, so please remember to tap the screen. It's the way that that the platform, recognizes that the crowd is into what's going on. And, we're all about pleasing the algorithm, right? We all are beholden to a math equation. Kind of sad in a way. Raz Morrow says we don't cede ground to fascists, and yet here we are with a fascist president, right? Raz says I'm lying. I'm lying about what? Raz, you can, I know it's hard to have a conversation in the chat, so Raz, I'm going to invite you up, and you feel free to explain what you mean. It looks like Raz has taken the invitation and is loaded in. Oh, that's a lot
Yeah,
of
sorry
noise.
about that.
Hi.
So
Oh, no
your
worries, Raz.
issue,
First off, let me say, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Your
Excellent.
issue was you didn't
And
read my comments in
secondly,
full.
if you could try to be polite for a moment, we could
I
have
am.
a conversation. No, right now you're not being polite, but
It's because you're
I'm
confused. I'm sorry.
hoping that we can have a polite conversation. So second of all, pardon me,
hmm
for TikTok purposes, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Excellent. Hey, Jane 46. Hey, Eric. Good to see you. Hi, Quixote, and thank you all for the heart me's. So what is on your mind?
Well, the main thing is just that you didn't understand the context of my comments. I think you took them as an attack directed at you
No,
when I was talking to
I
other
didn't know
commenters.
what you were saying. So I wanted to invite you up because, like I said, it's easier to understand when we're talking rather than when you're writing. So I didn't understand what you were saying exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know really what you wanted to talk about, but those comments were directed at other commenters, so the
Okay, cool.
conversation with you hasn't really begun yet.
Okay, excellent. So what's on your mind?
Duh, geez, I mean, a lot of stuff, man. I mean, look at the state of the world, look at the state of America. I'm really, for me, the thing that's been driving me the most up the wall has been ICE and the camps. I think that's pretty unacceptable. I don't really have anything I wanted to talk on specifically. You kind of pulled me up.
Sure.
Is there anything
No,
you
no.
wanted to
Well,
talk about
I didn't
or
pull you
pick my
up.
brain
You
about?
accepted my invitation, so I invited you, and I'll take
Oh yeah, you
responsibility for
invited
that.
me. I didn't say you
But you
forced
did
me,
accept
but
the invitation. Let's start with. Well, first of all, I agree with you. The situation with ICE is insane on so many levels. But do you see that as an indication of either dictatorial behavior or authoritarian behavior?
absolutely. No, I
And
mean, anybody with
so
a half functioning brain can see that.
yeah, perhaps, and it's possible for people with functioning brains to have different opinions than that. But that notwithstanding, why do you think that's a sign of a dictatorship?
Well, I think state violence is textbook for dictatorship, for one.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that this falls under this frame of state violence, I would say that's a good sign. But the other problem is with state violence, we justify state violence in certain instances, of course, because some people
Sure,
are
like
bad
capital
people who do
punishment,
bad things. Yeah.
like the police force. Yeah,
Right, right. But there's a notion in America that used to exist that punishment should be apportioned to the crime, and illegal immigration across the border is not a felony charge. It's not a huge, it's not equivalent to murder.
And
right? So you don't get
we
to throw
can't
somebody in
say
a
that
can.
word on TikTok. There's
I'm sorry, my
certain words we
apologies.
can't say. I know it's ridiculous, but so let me ask you this, because I think you're spot on. So let's play devil's advocate for a moment and
Sure.
say that crossing the border illegally was a felony, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Does that mean that you can just be whisked away to another country?
Certainly not,
Right.
because then you
Because
enter the
of due
talk of morality.
process,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Due
Right.
process, which is in pursuit of a moral function, right? The
Right.
reason that we have the due process, the reason we don't just do everything we can legally is obviously because there are moral standards that go beyond the Constitution that are to be fought for, I would say.
Sure. And all laws, in my opinion, are simply an attempt to codify morality, right? So I'm with
Absolutely.
you there as well. Hold on just one quick second. Um, Savior Fair something. Hang tight. I'm going to bring you up in a moment. So let me read one of the other headings of a sign of dictatorship. It's the erosion of rights.
Yep.
Infringement on freedoms. Basic rights and freedoms are restricted, including freedom of speech, press, and assembly. Targeting of minorities. Marginalized groups may face increased discrimination and violence, often justified by the regime. They meant might face, but they said may incorrectly. I hate that. But anyway, so yes. So we're seeing that in America. We're seeing a rogue president that has either infringed or is attempting to infringe on several of the rights spelled out in the Constitution. The First Amendment he has trampled on thoroughly. The 14th Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, possibly the Fourth Amendment for search and seizure. So, and now that he's signed this new act that basically, if you're not a Christian or a Christian nationalist, that could be criminalized. So now he's infringing on freedom of religion as well. So
Yes.
there are
Yes.
several signs. And do you see any other behavior that might indicate that we're living in a dictatorship?
Yes. So a lot of the discourse surrounding, I don't know if I can say that word, the V word, right? Can I say that word on TikTok?
I'm not sure. Some people
Okay, well,
don't.
it's probably sensitive right now. It's
Yeah,
probably sensitive.
yeah.
But
It
exactly,
rhymes
right?
with violins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the amount of asking the left very cynically and politically, and I say the left as the target of these attacks, not necessarily as you have to be a left winger to be attacked by this.
right.
But the way that they have been slandering the left is violent, despite the statistical contradiction of that, and asking them to turn down the violence language, right? Um, and I think that's sort of ridiculous, and I think it's also being done very much cynically and politically because their president, their side, will never denounce violence or hatred,
No,
right?
he promotes it.
He does. He certainly does. At that speech he did, he said, "I hate my enemies." So we now have the military attending speeches where they are informed of how much the president hates American citizens and encourages them to use full force against them. And the president emphasizing this valorous hatred of the enemy being televised to all. I mean, this is clearly a promotion of violence.
Yeah, I opened up by saying I literally cannot remember in my lifetime a president of America, either ones that I've witnessed directly or ones that I've read about in history, calling the opposing party evil and
Hmm.
demonic and all these other things, which is insane to me. But I want to read some information that I got from listening to Mehdi Hassan.
Hmm.
I didn't have the time to fact check this morning, but he is generally 100% spot on. So he mentioned that the ADL Center for Extremism cited 444 people who lost their lives between 2013 and 2022 by extremists, and 75% by the right-wing extremists. University of Maryland Terrorism Center between
Hmm.
1948 and 2018, right-wing extremists more likely to carry out violins than left-wing. The former head of the FBI, Chris Wray, who was appointed by Dump, said the number one T group threat comes from religious extremists, YT supremacists on the right. The CIA says the same thing, by the way. The National Institute for Justice said the majority of instances since 1990 that were engaged in violins were done by right-wing extremists. The single worst day of political violence of the past 50 years was January 6th, 2021.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
let me bring up a couple more people that want to talk, and we'll see if we can manage everybody at the same time. So you have a little bit of background noise going on, so I'm going to mute your mic for a minute, but please hang with me. So we have, Savior, was that the person I was talking to earlier?
Yes,
Hey,
hello.
how you doing? Good to see
Happy
you.
Gray
And
Day.
yeah, and Jordan's mom. How are you, Jordan's mom?
Good morning, sir. I'm well. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for asking. So, Savior, what's
It's
on your mind?
Savoie, sorry.
Savoir. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like
The
savoir
Franche.
faire.
The Franche.
Oui.
Yes. Okay. So, Savoir. What's on your mind?
The algorithm is algorithming, I guess, because I just put a note on my page that I always wanted to live in an authoritative dictatorship. And lo and behold, I'm seeing exactly what I said happening, in them getting all of the babies zip tied out of that apartment building in Chicago, and putting people naked and in their nightgowns and moving vans, and it's all white men doing it, and everybody is just sitting on their hands saying, what do we do? What do we do? And is this, yes, this is an authoritative dictatorship. So now what do we do? Because I'm tired of it. I'm like, where is B613, Olivia Pope's daddy? Somebody do something. Does it have to be me? Does it have to be you? I'm a regular civilian that's brought kids into this. I'm upset this morning. And I feel like I have to keep my mouth closed because everything I say gets censored, or I'm surrounded by other people who look like me, who don't seem to see this as a problem, who voted this in. So we've got a bigger issue at hand. It's not the fact that we're in an authoritative dictatorship. We've got people who think this should be happening in agreement.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Iron Inside said, this is absolute garbage. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what your mother said when she saw you. So,
see what I'm saying? People don't have a problem with their fellow Americans having a different point of view. Now it's violent. Now people are doing this to children.
They don't see us as fellow Americans.
My kids getting zip-tied in the middle of the night out their bed is a problem. I'm bussing.
Yeah, but they don't
what
see
is
us.
Going on?
They don't see us as fellow Americans. They don't see us as human. But Jordan's mom, what's on your mind?
So thank you for the opportunity. My apologies in advance. I don't like to do the dads. I'm not very animated. I just state my case and my facts, and I'm going to say this. I've been listening for a very long time to your conversations, and let me tell you what I think is happening. I think that quite often we want to put things into particular categories, preset determinants make us draw logical conclusions. But I think that multiple things can be true at the same time. I think that what we're witnessing, I don't know if it is one particular thing. For example, I don't know if it's exactly a dictatorship. And the reason I say that is because, do you think that he sits down and he has the wherewithal to compose these bills that he's signing?
No, he's dumb as shit. So, excuse me for one moment. Aaron, I was literally about to bring you up, and then you disappeared. So if you want to come up, please request again. So, I'm sorry, please continue.
So I think that similar to that movie, The Manchurian Candidate, just in premise, I think that he was the person who was willing to take the risk, that it cost to be at the helm of this movement. Because should it have failed, his life was already failing. It wouldn't have cost him anything. These people never imagined that they would be successful. They never imagined that the legislature, they never imagined that regular people would simply be they would capitulate, to their whims. They never imagined that they would win the House and the Senate. They never imagined they would have this level of authority, and that is why there has been this hurried effort, I think, to push things through, because they feel like the rug is going to be snatched from under them at any moment. At
That's
any,
possible. That's
I
possible.
disagree
if,
only because
but that nobody
Well,
cut
hold
over
on,
you
hold on
here,
one second. Oh,
respectfully.
I'm sorry. So you were saying?
Thank you. I think that, having said that, I don't know what the appropriate word for it is, but I will say this. It's an element of all of it. It's an element of fascism to it. It's an element of dictatorship to it. It's an element of racism and all of that. And I will also say this. Ask yourself this question. Whatever we label it, how does it all even make sense if they have made the corporation and elevated it higher than the individual? What is that called when you do that? Because all the legislation that they pass is to increase the power, the stretch, the influence of these corporations, as if they are the people, as if they are we the people. I don't know what you call that.
Right.
People say that it has something to do with capitalism. I mean, perhaps. But when you make 15 men responsible for a nation, do those men not understand? If you put these people under your thumb who outnumber you thousands to one, if you put them under your thumb, how are you going to run your country? What is going to be left? Where are you going? When it falls, where are you going? It's as
Those
if they
are
haven't thought this thing through. It cannot withstand the pressure that is under. It doesn't have the bandwidth to do so. I also think that we have to do something. These conversations that you're having, sir, are most important, because I don't see people having the conversation. It's as if everybody is standing by, waiting for someone else to do something, not even putting together something to protect their family, not even galvanizing their resources. It's as if we're in shock, because who knew democracy was so fragile?
good point. And Savoir Faire, you were saying that you disagreed, so feel free
only to
to
a certain
express.
extent.
Hmm.
Because mostly, Jordan, and I wasn't trying to cut you off. I don't know how to raise my hand
No, it's okay.
in the
That
chat,
happens.
so
That
I
happens. But
apologize.
go
But
ahead.
I think it's even bigger, but all working together. So maybe it's not a disagreement, but I will add to what you're saying to say that it's so well constructed that we don't see that even the people who are in our leadership are being puppeteered. I I have learned, I don't know how to say this without it being flagged, so I'm going to try really my best. We don't have any choice in who gets to be in front of us. We get given things, given these ideas of sides, and they're dangled carrots. And then we
Yep.
get the idea that we participated. We haven't had a democracy, I feel like, for a long time. And now that I've learned what I've learned, I think it's bigger. I think it's global. I think that it's going to be a tight ship. And so here, yes, we are experiencing the title of your chat this morning. That's all I'm gonna say to that.
Those are fair points. And before I continue, we have enter something. Sorry, I can't see. And is it? And please say your name, or you're teacupping. So I'm not sure if you're there. There you go. Is it energizement or energize me? Hello. Maybe you came up by accident. That happens sometimes. So I'll disconnect you. Let's see a couple other people trying to come up. Come on. Here
Excuse
we
me, host.
go.
Could I chime in on what we were saying just a minute ago?
Yes,
I didn't realize I was
absolutely.
muted. So when it comes to using a term like dictatorship, I think we're using it more descriptively of the situation. It may not be something that structurally fits with dictatorships of the past, and it may not be a true dictatorship in the sense of there's a sole dictator that's writing laws or whatever. In fact, I don't even know if in historical dictatorships, if a lot of the leaders even actually wrote the laws. um,
Yeah.
but it's basically what I'm trying to say here is it's useful rhetorically and as a model to sort of think of it in that way.
Well,
But
I would on that point, I would have to say that it resembles every dictatorship in history. So
certainly.
I think it is a dictatorship. I think it's not only descriptive but prescriptive as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the historical parallels, there are certainly plenty. So you could easily make the point that it is one. I'm just saying, basically, even if you didn't consider it to be one, you could still argue from that perspective
Right.
because it's same difference, essentially.
Yeah. And we have
It's
a
the big
couple
guy,
more.
whatever the big guy says goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So we have a few more people that have joined. We have Phoenix Rising. How you doing?
Good morning, and thank you.
Good morning.
It is a dictatorship. A dictatorship is not just a person, it can be even a small group or a specific party that is
Hold
dictating
on one quick
what
second.
is
Everybody
happening.
else who's not speaking, please mute yourself because there's a lot of background noise. So please continue.
Yes, and so understand that a dictatorship does not mean only one person. It can be one person, it can be a party, it can be a specific agenda.
Mhm.
So when we have these conversations, we need to be educated on the subject, as well as understanding that we are a democracy. Someone says we are a republic. A republic democracy means that we choose representatives to represent us, as opposed to every single person getting a vote on every single thing that happens in our country. We choose people to represent our interests, and those people vote on our behalf. It is still a
Yeah.
democracy.
Whenever
Just
MAGA
like
had
all
said we're
German
not a
shepherds,
democracy, we're a
yes,
representative republic or whatever,
brother,
we
that
are
is also a
both. We are
democracy.
both.
Understand this like I'm
Yeah.
going to explain it to you like a small child. All German shepherds are dogs, but not all dogs are German shepherds. So, as far as democracies go, think of it as dogs. There are different types of democracy. I
Right.
understand that you guys are listening to right wing rags and you watch only Fox and you watch far right people just give you sound bites, but education will take you a long way. Understand this, for those who identify with Christianity, you need to actually read up on your Bible and read about who Jesus the Christ is, and understand that Christ is about anointing, and it's not about just a person, it's about the character and how you live. Also, what you're doing here today is very important. We need to have more conversations where we are discussing the issues at hand. And Jordan, I want you to know you are not correct. There are people who have been planning for this for a very long time. Maybe you are not aware, but people have been planning, people have been prepping, people have been warning, but a lot of people haven't been hearing because you had to have this literally in your face. The reality is that some of us have been knowing that this was going to happen. Our parents knew that this was going to happen. Some of us grew up listening to the recordings of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all those great ones that came before us. We read a lot of books and we understand. Once you understand what patterns are, when you see certain behaviors, you know that this is what's coming. It's just like, once you injure your knee, you feel that pain before the rain. Before they say, oh, it's going to rain, you go, oh no, I feel it in my bones. The storm is coming. The storm is here. It's at our door. We are on the front lines. We are in a dictatorship. We are in a moment of crisis. We have been in a moment of crisis for well over a year. Even before he was reelected, the fact that we had that J6 and that people were convicted, but that person was never held accountable. This is really literally a replay of what happened in the 1920s to the 1930s. This right now, if you read about the small mustache man and what happened with him, you would think that they're writing about what is transpiring literally right now. So this is why education is important. This is why people need to read. This is why people need to have understanding. And understanding comes from knowledge. And you may not understand everything at once, but this is not new to everyone. And I am sorry that you are living through a time like this. I'm sorry that we all are. But the reality is the signs have been in place for well over 15 years. And the reason that we are here is due to complacency, to comfortability, to this idea that freedom will just always be here, from having weak leadership, from engaging and allowing certain certain behaviors, even before Obama was elected. But once he was elected, the people showed themselves. Understand that what we are watching right now with MAGA is just a rebranding of the Tea Party. Understand what we are seeing right now is something that we could not unsee. This happened many years ago, and all the signs and everything has been in place for a long, long time. And you know what they're feeding the poor, rural, young white people and the elderly? You know what they're feeding them? A whole lot of who Pop John, because the reality is all of those rich people, they even pay money for their children to go to elite schools so that they can be in clubs that you will never be in. They tell you you don't need an education while they destroy your Department of Education. So all those poor rural areas and all of the poor, whitey people, that they're going to be in a position that's worse than the serfs that we watch in old movies. They want you impoverished. They want you without an education because a well-educated people would question the authority of those who are in place. So
Yeah.
you can get up here and argue talking points while you are literally helping the people in power destroy your own children's futures. This is not just about us. It's about all of us. You think it's only going to affect the foreigner, only going to affect the brown-skinned people that you call black. Understand this, that they're literally destroying your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future. When Miller, a Jewish man from some other place, talks about a people in a history that's not even his, because his people weren't here. They got here in the 1930s or something. They didn't build this country. They built nothing here. When he says you have nothing, you built nothing, he's lying and spewing dogma that was never been true, because all of the history that is taught in this country is mythology. The reality is that we talk about the West, how somehow the West began in Mesopotamia, and Mesopotamia is Iraq, what you call the Middle East. It's over there east of Africa. Africa was fully developed. They had languages and they had cultures and they had cities long before they were colonized.
All right.
But you
So
don't have an education.
since we have other guests, I'm going to have to
I'm
give
so
other people a
sorry, but
chance.
thank you.
But I will say that I love everything you said. I have been sounding the alarm since 2015. When he came down the stairs and gave that speech about Mexicans and immigrants and Muslims and all that, I went on the Book of Faces and I said, this guy sounds like the guy from the 1930s. And I not because I'm a genius, not because I could see the future, it's because I could see the past. And the past was repeating itself, and I've been saying it for the last 10 years. And I agree with everything. I'd say, in my estimation, this started roughly in the mid 60s when the party switched and the Southern strategy was implemented to vilify the minorities. That's when it started, and it's been gaining momentum since then. So yes, I agree with what you said. It looks like Energize Me is back, and someone else is trying to get in. Let me see who that is. That's Iron Inside. Let's see. This ought to be interesting. All comments that I saw. Is Iron Inside there? I accepted. Did you load up Iron Inside? Nope, I guess not. So, anyone else have any thoughts regarding what Phoenix just said? Because those are all excellent points.
It was powerful.
I wanted to clarify some things. Multiple things can be true at the same time. For example, you said that you have been sounding an alarm, but if you are such a minute part and in such a place where the masses are not able to get to your content, then for them, they feel the feeling is that there's no one saying anything. So you feel a type of loneliness, a type of emptiness, and you feel a type of alarm, and you're not sure what that alarm is. What I can also say is this: I think that maybe the movement has been around for a long time, but there were some things that facilitated it, the speed, the swiftness that this has come about. One of those things was when Barack Obama was elected president, they began to criticize him openly and say terrible things. And I think that once you begin to diminish the respect that goes with the seat, once that person leaves, you do not get that dignity and an honor back. Once you have compromised that seat, it becomes okay for people to be less than Does that make sense? It becomes
Hmm.
he was a stellar human being, a stellar administrator, a stellar president, but they tried to diminish him and say terrible things about him and whatever. And they did not. They thought they were diminishing just Barack Obama the person. No, you were diminishing the seat of the presidency. And once you tarnish it, then it was better able to fit a person like we currently have.
Well, the one thing I'll say about that is that, and Barack Obama acknowledged this also. He expected to be insulted because that's what happens with presidents in a free country. You're allowed to say they stink, you don't like them, you're allowed to say you hate them. And so I don't think there's anything different about that. I don't think that necessarily diminished the office of the president, but it's possible that it did. Before we continue, let me say hello to Swift the Gift. Is that correct? Swift, you're muted. There
Sorry,
you go.
sorry, this is my first live, so
No
uh,
worries. Well, welcome to TikTok Live. And for TikTok purposes, are you at least 18 years old?
yes,
Excellent.
well
So,
beyond. I got a gray
so
beard, so I'm good.
fantastic. So, what's on your mind?
So the first thing I want to say is shout out to Phoenix Rising. Like everything, no lies detected, speaks fluent in facts. Like everything, like we are so like minded, and I just love everything she had to say. But I wanted to add in that we use the word dictatorship and we forget to use other keywords: authoritarianism and totalitarianism. And those are both simultaneously going on. And then the only other part that I feel would be valuable for me to add is that, you know, we talk about the mustache man and we talk about the 30s and the 40s, which that's been, I'm not going to belabor that point. But it was further during the Nixon administration and then way further during the Reagan administration. And then I don't need to repeat that, obviously, you know, we elect Obama and there was a backlash to that, and that's what kind of led to that. But all of that infrastructure that these, you know, that what's going on today, that was started post World War II, and it really started in those eras. In, you know, in just what I know. So that's
Yeah,
all I wanted to say. And that's it.
this absolutely isn't the first time that this has been attempted in America, and it happened in the 40s also. And to your point about dictators and dictatorships, that obviously it's convenient language because we don't want to list out everything every time we mention it. But you are right, and I will say this: as we speak, there are 50 dictatorships in existence on the planet. Right? So this is a thing that happens, and there's a pattern that takes place. I mean, how many articles are there about dictators and authoritarians and all that stuff? Because they do the same thing all the time, which is, important for me to recognize because, the brilliance of human beings is that right now there's not a computer or even a supercomputer in existence that can recognize patterns as well as human beings do. And so when I see a pattern, I don't feel like a genius. I just know that I'm recognizing a pattern. And the pattern that I recognized in 2015 and since then was the pattern of dictatorship because it leaves clues, it has characteristics. And that's why I started off reading, the signs of a dictatorship because they're all there. Right now, they are all there. We're watching it happen. And to everyone's point about their fellow citizens, either people have convinced themselves that it's not happening, or they're just not smart enough to understand that it's happening.
I agree that people haven't opened their eyes or they're pretending that they don't see it. I also believe that people have not studied propaganda. Now, I used to do gifted, talented arts, whatever they call it. And in middle school, we would have to go and do these tournaments in New Orleans against all of like Archbishop and these Brother Moore and these big schools, whatever. And we would play propaganda and it would teach you how to notice when you're deceiving yourself, how to recognize the patterns and languages and things that people do in politics, the way they lead you and what they say. So I've been able to see things. I also have dreams. So I've seen that's kind of why I'm kind of like animated, because I need people to feel the same unction, to get a sense of urgency within themselves. If you've never read the Diary of Anne Frank, I read it avidly as a little girl, over and over and over. These are patterns. People are hiding in attics right now, in buildings right now. That's why they're emptying out whole buildings. People are hiding their whole families right now. What you're hearing is not a lie. They're not taking cargo ships with people chained over ocean, signal off, bye-bye, sayonara, Venezuelan bomb, goodbye. Why are you in the middle of the ocean trying to rescue them? They're gone. Put the patterns together, and John Hannibal Smith, you're a bot. Like, anyway, I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm being overly dramatic, but people need to get a sense of urgency. Like, it's a little too late to be having the discussion of what is and what isn't when we're in it. We're in it, y'all. We're in it. This is us. And
It
it's only going
reminds
to get
me. It
worse.
reminds me of a quote that is attributed to Harriet Tubman. Whether it's accurate or not, it's still a powerful quote in my mind. She said, "I would have freed more people if they had only known they were slaves." And part of what happens in America, and George Carlin talked about this like 40 years ago, because someone earlier mentioned the false choice of political parties and things like that. He said that the government is there to maintain the illusion of democracy and maintain the illusion of choice. What we are given in America is mostly meaningless choices, like 31 flavors and cheese or pepperoni, or that kind of stuff, or which cable channel of the 500 cable channels are we going to watch. And that makes us feel like we are in control of our lives and that we have choices. But the most important choices, which is the condition of the country, is not left to us. When Lincoln said that America was of, by, and for the people, he either was lying or he was just unaware of the truth. It has never been of, by, and for the people. It has always been for the wealth class, which my friend Danny just rebranded as the predator class. That's what this country was always made for. That's why they enslaved as many people as they could. And there are people running around right now who don't know that they are slaves. Like, if you're working for a corporation, you're just in a high price plantation, right? And they do everything they can to hide the truth from us, to hide the reality from us. And regarding propaganda, I've been studying that for 48 years because I've been into psychology for that long and used it in my daily life, in my corporate sales career and in my coaching career. So propaganda, in my opinion, is the most powerful communication tool in the world. And unfortunately, it works almost all the time, and certainly always works with a segment of the population, as we've seen recently. Iron Inside, your teacup. So I don't know if you're here or what's going on there, but
I'm here, yeah.
there you go. Okay, so what's on your mind?
Well, I will say that I agree with you about propaganda. Propaganda is something that is certainly utilized today to influence pretty much everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on the right or the left or centrist, you're going to be influenced by propaganda because it's rampant in our country and as well as others. I recall as a kid learning about propaganda as if it was something that doesn't exist in our society, but it does, and it's an ugly thing, and we're all influenced by it daily.
Yeah.
But to counter the dictatorial claim that we live in a dictatorship, I do not agree with that.
Oh, looks like your teacup probably got a phone call.
See,
Hopefully,
I don't see how
there you
that's at all evident
okay.
that we live in a dictatorship.
So
You know,
what are the signs of a dictatorship? Oh,
restricted freedoms, freedom of speech, religion, those sorts of things. That's not happening.
Really? So when a student gets arrested for expressing his opinion on a Middle East situation, is that not trying to curtail freedom of speech?
Well, who arrested that person? I'm not familiar with that particular case. I'm not saying it didn't happen,
Yeah,
but who
that
arrested
that
that person and why? What did they say exactly that was
it doesn't
deemed?
matter what they said, does it?
Well, if it incites violence, then it does matter.
There was no
The
incitement of
First
violence. There
Amendment
was
was
simply an opinion expressed.
Then I
Okay,
wouldn't agree with that.
when you have the
I wouldn't agree with that.
FCC saying to people, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way," and threatening to shut people down who don't acquiesce to their demands, does that sound like a threat to the First Amendment?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I'm not familiar with
Okay.
that case either,
You're
but
not
that's
familiar with Jimmy Kimmel being shut down?
oh yeah. When you're talking about Kimmel, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't agree with that either.
You're not familiar with Stephen Colbert being fired?
No, I didn't really hear about that one.
Okay. So
I'm
it
very
seems
aware
like
of
you're,
Jimmy Kimmel,
and I
I
don't
think
mean this
that's
as a personal attack. I'm observing that you don't seem really connected to recent events that are very
well, not
significant in
everything.
America.
I didn't hear about Stephen Colbert, but I heard about Kimmel. I saw
And
that,
you
of
didn't
course,
hear
and I
about
thought
the
that was a
student that got
gross
arrested either.
injustice. No, you can't hear about everything. There's too much
I
going on at
understand,
one time to be aware of
these
every
are very
situation.
significant. That you came up here very confidently saying that there was no indications of dictatorship, and there are several indications of a dictatorship.
Okay, but what are the outcomes of that? Kimmel's back on
Trying
the
to
air, is
rig
he
an
not?
election is an indication of a
That's
dictatorship.
not even truthful. And he
Really?
stepped down out of office immediately. But no, but a dictatorship. If
Excuse
somebody's
me.
a dictator,
If you said that's not true,
you're making a point. Can I not respond to it?
let me respond to you telling
All right, go
me
ahead.
that that didn't happen, because it just happened recently when he called Texas and said, "Give me 5 seats in an off-cycle time." That's an attempt to rig elections, my friend.
That's media.
Oh, that's media now. Okay.
That's media.
So
Yeah,
you're
you listening to too much media. That
it's what
see,
what it
here's the
sounds
problem: is
like
that everyone lives in their silo.
what it sounds like is that
All right, if you don't want to let me respond, that's
you
fine.
are simply going to repeat the propaganda that Daddy Dump gave you to repeat,
I don't even
and
like
you're
Trump.
not going to see. I don't care whether you like him or not. You're talking like him.
Well,
You are
you're
repeating
telling
his
me
talking
that he's a
points.
dictator when he
You're
doesn't have any evidence
repeating.
of that being truthful.
We
There's no
just
evidence of
gave
that.
you.
He is
I just
limited by
gave
the
you
government.
evidence.
He's
I
shut down.
just gave you
But he's not the
evidence.
FCC, is he? Does he run the FCC?
He
Is he the
appointed
head
the
of the
FCC.
FCC?
All right, you're not here to have a real conversation. So goodbye. All right.
I
Someone
mean,
else
why
wants to come
not?
up. Chance Joe Kell, I think. Chance
Jokel.
Jokel. How you doing,
Yeah, what's going
Jokel?
on, guys? Doing well, doing well. Hey, man, so I just, don't believe that if we were living in a dictatorship that we would be able to have these conversations. And in reference to like Jimmy Kimmel being fired or whatever, you can look at his ratings. He's terrible. And
So you
late
think
night show
he was
host.
fired for his ratings that were
No, for what he said about
actually very high if you looked at the ratings?
No, I did look at
You
the
see, what
ratings.
you're doing right now
You
is
pull 'em up on your
repeating
phone.
Dump's talking points. That's what you
No.
started off doing. Yes, that's exactly what you're doing by saying that a television show that you can look up the ratings for and
Right, do
shows
it.
high ratings.
I did. I'm on my
then
phone right now.
and you're saying his
Why so combative?
he wasn't making money for they didn't have advertising revenue.
Okay, so check
Right.
this out. What does Trump have to do with him being fired?
So
Why so combative?
hold on. Let me address this.
Well, I mean, I'm
So the question is, what does Dump have to do with it? First of all, you know that he appointed the FCC chair, right?
But what does the
And
company
do
getting rid
you
of him?
know
He
that
doesn't
he
have freedom of
appointed the
speech.
FCC
when you
chair?
go to work,
Do you
when you go to
know
wo-
that he appointed the FCC chair?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Now,
what does
do
that
you
mean?
also know that the FCC chair runs around with a Dump lapel pin on his lapel?
Okay, so he supports the
So
president. That's great.
he's a loyalist. And do you also know that the FCC chair
Right. I
has
think everybody
threatened
should be
the
loyal to
same?
our
You are
president who
not
was
letting me
elected.
finish sentences, bro. So you're not here to have a conversation, are you?
I'm listening to you.
No, you're not
Listen to
Sir,
listening.
he's
interject.
in a
You
group,
can't be
sir. He's
listening
in a group.
if I'm in the middle of a if I'm in the middle of a sentence and you start talking, you're not fucking listening. Okay? Don't try to
All
gaslight
right,
me
my
like I'm
bad.
a fucking moron. I know what a conversation sounds like, and you ain't having one. Okay? So it's just a coincidence that all of the broadcasters that Dump doesn't like are being attacked by the FCC coincidentally, right?
Coincidentally,
You think it's coincidence?
those are your words.
Do you think it's coincidence?
No, I don't think it's coincidence.
Oh, so then that's what Dump has to do with it, to answer your earlier question.
But Trump is not the person that if somebody went up and said something against
Okay,
Charlie
you're a
Kirk, then
5-year-old. I got to get the fuck out of here with dumb fucks like you. Jesus Christ.
He was in a group come to infiltrate the conversation.
That's okay.
Whatever.
Here's the reality. They're only going to repeat what they hear because they don't bother to think about anything. And this is the problem when people don't develop any kind of thinking skills, not even critical thinking skills, because basic thinking skills would have you saying, I know, and maybe they do know that they're repeating propaganda. They believe that if they tell the lie often enough, that it will become the truth. And that is true if they're not faced with a correction. If you listen to the lie and you don't push back, it becomes the truth. But the reality is that we know what the truth is. So we must push back, not every time, absolutely every time, and then before they do. We need to make sure that education is free. That's why I like these kinds of platforms. That's why every opportunity I get, I remind people that there was a history of mankind that predates this thing called the West because people lack education. There was a history of religion that predates the Bible because people need an education. That God is real because I believe that God is real. I receive visions. God still gives people visions. He still communicates through us. That the word spirit literally comes from spiral, which means your breath. The reality is that people are not educated. They're not educated on anything. They just listen and repeat. They listen, they watch, they repeat. They have nothing to offer. If you're going to come up here, be decent, at least have a conversation. And the reality is you don't need to know everything, but you at least need to know that you need to have questions. Once you think you know everything, you're lost.
Well, the reason why they
You're
don't answer
lost.
questions is because when all you have is a talking point and no true understanding, then you can't answer any reasonable questions that you're asked. I know how to spot MAGA hats and propaganda parrots very easily. I've been doing this a while. But folks, we have 110 people, and after an hour and 50 minutes, somehow we only have 16,000. I've gotten that with 10 people in the crowd. I don't understand what's happening. I know you're into the conversation, but please keep tapping the screen. And we have a couple of folks that just
Can
joined
you
us.
mute my
Jinx.
mic? For some reason, it's not working for me. Can you mute my mic?
Oh, sure. There you go. Jinx, how you doing?
I'm doing really well considering.
Yeah, I hear you. And Beth, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. I'm so tickled to see you live at this time of day.
Yeah, I
I'm on my
decided.
lunch break.
Yeah, I decided that from for the next 3 months at least, I'm going live twice a day, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm glad that you're here.
Right on. I'm
So
loyal supporter, brother.
nice. So Jinx, what's on your mind?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. I'm in DC, but I'll let y'all know that the people are rising up in DC, like lots of protesters, lots of vets at Union Station, like hundreds. And they're not leaving. Some of them aren't leaving. It's like
Yeah.
it's there is hope. I just want you all to know there's hope.
Need it.
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And I like hope, but it's a cheap emotion. I feel like Tina Turner. What's hope got to do with it? I
Love.
will say this. All of the protests that I've seen heretofore are commendable. However, they have not been organized and they have not been focused. And this is not intended to put down anyone's efforts because I don't know fuck all about organizing people, and these people have organized millions of people. Okay. But let's contrast what we've seen in the past few months with the bus boycott in Montgomery. That was daily effort sustained for over a year where everyone was doing the same thing as a protest. That is what we need to do. That is the answer to the question, what can we do? I don't know how to accomplish that, so I'm hoping that the people that are so great at organizing, I know one of them, Caress from the People's Sick Day, she's phenomenal. I'm hoping that people like Caress, who understand how to organize people and galvanize
Thank
people,
you very much.
will come
You too.
together. Will come together and move everything forward, because I think that's the only solution, quite frankly, unless we go for plan B, which is not optimal, because then there's going to be loss of life, and we don't want that. Hi, Cherry. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the heart me.
I agree with you. We've been working with them, and we have some organizations in DC, and we've been trying to work with them to explain just fly the American flag. Don't fly any other flags. Like, I understand their reasoning for it, but they have to, because what they say, they use it as propaganda. And they say, look, see, they're trying to take over our country, right? Because they see all the foreign flags, and that's what they try to do. So it's getting, slowly but surely, it's getting a little better.
Yeah, I love this. Return of the Mac, one of my favorite R&B songs, got ruined by this idiot who said, "Dump rules all libtards." That's adorable. But I'm going to block you because you're a moron. So, so Beth, anything on your mind?
Well, I tell you, I really want to validate someone talking about widespread ignorance and that people really don't know. I was having the same thought that, I live in a redneck little state, and I think, I don't think the majority of the people that I'm around have a freaking clue. I know. I think they don't know what's going on. And since it's my workplace, I'm interested in not being in a hostile environment. So I'm not,
Yeah.
makes me sound like a real wuss, but
No, I mean, listen,
just
you
being
you gotta
honest.
you have to, there's reality that intrudes upon all this. We could say everything we want to say, but at the end of the day, people have to feed their family, and I'm going to respect that choice, even if it frustrates me. I was in that situation. I was in corporate America until 2020, and I spent 36 years there. And, I had to keep my mouth shut for a while too, because I had to, make sure that my family had bread on the table. So that's part of the compromise that frustrates us in America,
Yep.
because we're supposed to be so fucking free, and yet we have to be careful of what we say, especially now, since literally between the entire administration, they've made it clear that dissenters are going to be criminalized. And that's not my imagination. That's literally what they're saying. He just signed an order yesterday. What the hell is it called? It has a long title to it. Oh, yeah, SMPM 7. It stands for National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. And basically, if anyone in the administration feels that you are anti-Christian, anti-American, or anti-capitalism, they can criminalize you. They can just say, you're a threat to America. And for those people that don't think that's a sign of dictatorship, then you might be too fucking stupid for this conversation.
I think that there are a lot of people that are too stupid for the conversation. Some are legitimately ignorant, and every once in a while, I get an opportunity to plant a seed, but generally not, because a lot of them are hostile too. They're
Mhm.
not just, some are just ignorant, but some are downright hostile and totally bought in. And it's very cult like and very dictatorship like, I think. You know,
Yeah. I agree. We
I'm
have
I,
a couple of interesting comments here. Again, Mr. Garver says we are the most free country in the world. No, we are not. When you have the highest percentage of your population incarcerated, we are literally the least free country in the world. So that's a propaganda talking point. And this guy, what's his name here? Or Area 57, and that might be a Latino person. He said, dude, you're just trying to talk bad about our country. Hey,
Oh
so
my
you don't believe in
God.
the First Amendment, I guess, dude. Dumb shit.
I think they're going to start paying people to turn people in who talk bad about the administration and the
Yeah,
Gestapo
they're
and, I'm
already
sorry,
doing that.
ICE
That's called
and,
ICE, right?
yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, let's remember that,
What's
slaves
it
turned into
called?
other slaves, Jews turned into other Jews. This
Ice
is what
Cube.
happens in this kind of environment. Yeah, I see. Yeah, they're I I see an environment exactly like we saw in Germany, exactly like we see in any dictatorship. When people are ruled by fear, they're going to try to preserve themselves because that's our first priority as humans is self-preservation. And so if they're scared enough, they will start turning in their neighbors. And it's always been that way and it always will be
Yep.
that way. Oh, before we continue, for some reason my rose goal of 100 stalled at 8. Come on, folks, I know you like roses. There's just one coin each. Let's buy them up. 104 people in here. That could be gone easily. Oh, thank you, Jinx. I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I feel vindicated for the decision that I made to start going mornings. I am happy with the crowd of people that are here, not only in the audience but my panelists. I appreciate everything that you've contributed so far. I'd like to start from the bottom up and get some closing thoughts. So, starting with savoir faire, what are your closing thoughts? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Um, Brother Yoda, I am so thankful that I came on your live and that I kind of spoke into existence what I really needed to get off my chest. I appreciate the panel. Phoenix, you're amazing. You just made me want to go and read some more, get in my studies. I implore everyone in the chat, please go read. Please go educate yourselves. Please study. Do something quick and prepare your hearts and minds for things to get worse because they're not going to get better. I think that I'm resonated with that because I've had the dreams of what's happening. So as I'm seeing it happen, I think that has something to do with why my brain is moving faster than my words. So I'm probably talking really fast. I apologize, but
No worries. We're
um
keeping up with you.
don't lose hope. A part of what I seen, the sky was gone. 2018, it was Memorial Day weekend. I was out here in Texas. The whole sky was gone. A voice behind me. It was like 12:30, maybe a little later than that, midnight. I was coming out of work. A voice behind me told me, look up. The entire sky was gone. The moon was like the nickel size, like cheesy yellow. And what I saw, literally, I have no explanation, but it looked like people were on it. It looked like lights were on it. Um, Something big is happening that they're not telling us is bigger than what you see. It's bigger than what you can even imagine. And the Most High and living Elohim, Yahweh, is not playing with any of us. Get your lives right. Get your hearts in order. Get that hate out of your hearts to those of you who are on here that want that all white is right thing going on. You got to stop or you're going to get stuck here. Okay? Love y'all.
All right. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate it. All right. And we'll go next to Phoenix. What are your closing thoughts? It's like you'll have to unmute yourself. Are you there, Phoenix? Maybe stepped away for a moment. So let's go to Jinx, I know you just got here, but do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just want y'all to know that my grandma, I'm second generation American from Ireland, and my grandmother in the 50s and the 60s had your back, and I am following her lead. She taught me everything. So if there's any like YT people out there that can hear me, this is the time to step up for them. This is the time to show up for the immigrants too. So you can take them to appointments. It helps if they have a white person with them.
Fair
And I
point.
wanted to say I loved your live. It is so educating, and
Thank you.
spiritual. And I was impressed with everything I heard today. I learned a lot. So
Excellent.
thank you,
Excellent.
Yoda.
And
And
thank you
blessings. And
for,
I think there is hope too.
thank you for
Blessings.
your contribution. I appreciate it. All right. All right. Let's go next to Beth. Any closing thoughts?
Well, you had mentioned, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. You had mentioned that you started going, you know, live earlier now, and
Well, today's
you
the
don't.
first day that I've done it.
So I got really freaking lucky. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And you talked about, well, I'm not a professional organizer, but I think this is a time where it's important for everybody to do everything that they can. And I see what you're doing as exactly that. And I appreciate it so much. You probably noticed I shared it with everybody as
Thank you.
soon as I
Appreciate
saw
that.
it.
Appreciate it.
So um, I think yours is a very important voice, Yoda. I appreciate you very much. And, you know, I could say a lot more, but my lunch is over.
All right.
That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
I'm
Well,
in a red
enjoy
state.
the
I
rest
would
of the
not put,
day, and thank you for taking some of your precious time and sharing it with us
well, thank you. Until next time, will that be tonight?
tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, it's a little late for me, but
I got you.
maybe I can make it. I hope I can.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. All
Thank
right.
you so
Good
much.
day. Bye bye.
Uh,
All right. And it looks like
I wanted to say,
Phoenix, you got your
yes,
mic
I'm
working now.
back. I wanted to say thank you. Yes, and I just gave you a follow.
Thank you.
For some reason, I couldn't mute or unmute myself.
Yeah, that
Um,
happens sometimes.
Yeah, this app has been acting a little janky for a little bit now.
Yeah.
I wanted to recommend the read if those who like to read. I'm an avid reader. I have this book Under the Affluence, Affluence by Mr. Tim Wise. He wrote this book in 2015, and it is entitled Under the Affluence: Shaming the Poor, Praising the Rich, and Sacrificing the Future of America. Around the same time that you said you recognize that, Mr. Yoda. And page 198, it starts a paragraph, A Culture of Predatory Affluence, examining the inverted values of the rich. Now, understand this, I know you're closing, so I won't go on to read,
No, take
but,
your time.
okay, so then I will share. Not only, not only are talent and hard work inadequate to explain the inflated incomes of the upper rich, so too their value systems and personal integrity fail to justify their positions. Indeed, while the wealthy and their conservative media megaphones spend time and energy bashing the so-called culture of poverty and suggesting that it is the poor and unemployed whose values are dysfunctional, pathological, and destructive, the reality is almost entirely the opposite of that charge. If anything, it is the culture and values of the affluent that are the most dysfunctional and destructive to the social good. And understand that what we are seeing now is what he is mentioning here. It is predatory. They are using issues like race. They are using the issue of religion. These people don't believe in a God greater than themselves or their money or their accounts. These people don't care about you or your skin color. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that those who are wealthy can't stand what they call the PWTs. For those who are of paler skin, you know exactly what that is. They
Mhm.
don't like you. That's why they cut all the benefits or anything that would be your life source. They tell you you don't need an education while they continually make sure that they receive all of the education. They know what the truth is, but they will feed you a lie. They are banning books. No good thing in the history of mankind ever came from people banning knowledge. Just know that is a fact. Most of the history that you know, especially as a United States citizen or even a European citizen, is false. Even some people from other parts of the world don't know their history. But understand that the world began in a place called East Africa and also a place called the Mesopotamia, which is modern day Iraq. Most of our culture and the culture of mankind lies there. Understand that they went in, just like we have watched what happened in Gaza. Someday, somebody 20 years from now can say Gaza never had a hospital. They never had a building. They never had a school. Where's the proof of it? Because if they can scrub everything, erase everything, and if they can burn every book, who would be around to tell it in 40, 50, 60 years? Understand that in a few generations, exactly, Aline, in a few generations, you can erase a people, that they have been doing this since the beginning of time. And thank goodness for some of those, even European countries, in Greece, in Italy. And as Putin came out with his black statues of Jesus, understand we're talking about people. We're talking about people. And understand this, that the same God that created people in brown skin, created people with pale skin, created people with yellow skin, or everything underneath it. If you as a parent who has more than one child, any of you, if you can love more than one child, and they may not look the same or they may not act the same, and depending on their personality, you may not have the same relationship. But if you ever had that experience, believe this. If you believe that God is a father, understand that that love and that understanding and that need for God's people to have a certain character, that God wants the best for all of us. Education is power. Understand that men wrote the books that you use for religion. God is real, but religion is a fence put around your faith. Don't allow your faith and your understanding of your Most High to be limited by only books that men have written, that they tell you don't search for this and don't search for that. I also want to put this out there, and this is no offense to anybody. Look up the word occult, OCCULT. It is literally hidden knowledge. If they don't want you to know it, I advise you to go look for yourself. To go look for yourself. And understand that there's much value in the Bible. There is. There is. The problem is when you think that the Bible is the beginning and ending of all knowledge. When you think that even your Quran is the beginning and ending of all knowledge. If you think your Tanakh is the beginning and ending of all knowledge. It is not. It is what man decided that can be canonized and what you are allowed to have in order to practice a specific religion. Don't be limited by the limited knowledge of others. Please seek wisdom, act in love, and yes, carry a big stick. Be prepared. We are on the front lines of this life. I send you all love, peace, joy, happiness. I hope that you all eat well. Be mindful of one another. Be patient with yourselves and be patient with other people, please. Thank you, Mr. Yoddah, so much for giving me this opportunity.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you've said, and you've made a great contribution to this live session. So thank you. Please come back anytime. All right. I'm going to play a quick video that I shared last night. I just posted it. This has to do with this thing that Dump signed, so you get more detail about it. And I'm going to read a quote to kind of wrap everything up. So here we go. President Trump has signed the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, also known as NSPM 7. In it, he has given his fascist administration the freedom and ability to label anything as anti-American. Trump's Homeland Security advisor, Stephen Miller, said this is the first time in American history that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism. Now, anything the government deems anti-Christian, anti-American, or anti-capitalism can be criminalized. Trump didn't stop there, though. In front of over 800 military leaders, he said if any of them didn't like what he was saying and wanted to walk out, they could, but it would cost them their rank and their future, as he said. At the same time, the government is about to shut down because Trump won't accept a provision to maintain people on their health insurance. America is no longer headed into fascism. America is now a fascist country. All right, and I want to share something real quick also for the folks that are seeing me for the first time. I also have another channel that I just started to develop. As I mentioned earlier, I've been a coach since the early 90s, and my second account is Coach Yoddah. You can reach it at coach.yoddah, Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And I think very often during my daytime sessions, I will be speaking more and more about my coaching stuff because I do want to try to engage in positive conversations as well, not just politics and current events. But we were talking earlier about the idea of the wealth class and the predator class and the effects that that has had on America. And none of this is new. I want to read a quote and I want everyone to guess. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to guess when this quote was said. And you could go by like decade or year, whatever. But listen to this. Wall Street owns the country. It is no longer a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but a government of Wall Street, by Wall Street, and for Wall Street. The great common people of this country are slaves, and monopoly is the master. So, anyone, just take a quick guess. What year or decade was this? Savoir Faire says 1938. Any other guesses? Da, 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 da. 1889, Phoenix Rising. 1940, 1933. 1926. So Phoenix Rising was the closest. It was 1890. This was a speech given by Mary E. Lease. This stuff that we're experiencing is not new. But as Billy Joel sang, they say that these are not the best of times, but they're the only times I'll ever know. Right? So it is new to us because we're here for the first time, but the world has been churning a certain way for a very long time. But I'll leave you with that thought. Once again, to my panel, phenomenal, great, great work. I appreciate everything that you all contributed. And even the people that came up here and were rude and dumb. I like humiliating MAGA hats. It's kind of a hobby for me. I do give them an opportunity to speak sometimes, but they never disappoint me. They're just fucking dumb. Anyway, for the people in the chat that have been tapping the screen and sharing the live and gifting, I really, really genuinely appreciate your time because that is the most important thing that any of us own is our time. So the fact that you decided to share your time with me is something I'll never take for granted. Once again, for the rest of the year, starting today, I'm doing twice a day, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you folks. The nighttime is along similar lines, but there's a different vibe. At night, we have a whole different bunch of people, but of course, anyone that wants a second helping, I will always appreciate that. So until we meet again, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.